In just 2 tweets, Simone Biles basically tarnished her reputation to anyone with a shred of honesty, to anyone with a moral compass, and to anyone with an inherent, innate desire to protect women, to fight for equal opportunity for both men and women, especially as it pertains to sport. She's basically incinerated her legacy in just 2 tweets. So congratulations, Simone Biles. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gains for Girls podcast. Let me tell you, it's Saturday at the time of me sitting in this chair filming this. I'm super annoyed, to be honest with you, to be filming on a Saturday. Number one, I spend so much of my time on the road, traveling. I'm gone, time away from my dogs, my home, my husband. But I was home this weekend, and I was so desperately looking forward to a relaxing, calm weekend at home. Went to the gym this morning, got my coffee, came back home, and now I'm sat filming this. Why am I filming on a Saturday morning as opposed to our normally scheduled shows that we release on Wednesdays? I wanted to film while my emotions and thoughts are pretty fresh because just last night, we got into a Twitter or an X altercation, if you will, a back and forth with Simone Biles. In just 2 tweets, Simone Biles basically tarnished her reputation to anyone with a shred of honesty, to anyone with a moral compass, and to anyone with an inherent, innate desire to protect women, to fight for equal opportunity for both men and women, especially as it pertains to sports. She has what I would believe, what I have seen, this is the conclusion I'm drawing based on the response that we have seen over the past 12-ish hours at this point on social media. She's basically incinerated her legacy in just 2 tweets. So congratulations, Simone Biles. There have been very few who have crashed out spectacularly as bad as this. Let me get something very clear on the front end of this. Simone Biles is a freaking phenomenal athlete. I have had so much joy over the past 8 years watching Simone Biles, watching her compete, watching her succeed, watching her dominate. Like, she is the best of the best, bar none. She is in a league of her own. I have been very public in my admiration and respect, truthfully, of Simone Biles, what she's done for the sport of gymnastics, what she's done for women's sports in general. She is a phenom. That still stands, okay? Like, let's be very, very clear about that. I've respected her. I mean, she's even gone back at this point and seen some of my tweets, again, admiring her. Nonetheless, we got into an altercation, you guessed it, over men and women's sports. I can't even, for the life of me, understand why in the year 2025, Simone Biles would suddenly take the stance that she did. We are going to unpack all of this. It's kind of like this bad case study of what happens when you mix arrogance with the embrace of wokeness. And I say arrogance because it's no surprise that Simone Biles, whether it's wearing the goat necklace, because again, I believe she had every right to do that, okay? There is a level of arrogance, and I've known she's always been a liberal, okay? Like, again, not a shock to me. I still supported her. None of those things really mattered to me, but this is pretty indefensible. We're just going to kind of unpack where this came from, what was said, the back and forth that we have had. Let me pull up the tweets because, again, this is happening now. We're going to have to insert some things post-production here. The first tweet that Simone Biles put out, again, out of thin air, like this came out of nowhere, like off the top rail, no idea where this came from. But Simone Biles tweeted this. She said, "At Riley Gaines, you are truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser." We're going to pause right there. First of all, saying I lost a race, I'm assuming that she is insinuating, I know which race she's referring to. It's the national championships where we had a man in the pool. Of course, I have lost so many races over my time as an athlete, right? Especially my time in college. That's no shock. That's part of being an athlete. I've lost more than I've won, okay? Or at least come second, third, whatever. I've done that more than I've won, as would most, again, athletes at that level. That's pretty standard. But to insinuate that this male beat me and to call me a sore loser because of it, number one, he didn't beat me in the race you're referring to. We tied. We went the exact same time down to the 100th of a second, which I would describe as mildly embarrassing for the 6'4" man that you were calling a brave, valiant warrior here. Anyways, continuing on, you should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports. Pause again. I should be uplifting the trans community. Hold on. Why is it my job? Why is it the job of women to have to create an environment where men feel safe, where men have their feelings validated and their identity affirmed? Why is that my job? Like, why is this a you should scenario? Hold on, Simone. If that's what you want to do with the platform that you have, the incredible platform that you have, that you've been able to build and develop because of your supreme athleticism, then by all means, like, it's America. You get to do that. I get to call you stupid for doing it, but you get to do that if you want to do it. I don't believe, we're totally opposite ends here. I do not believe it's the job of women to make men feel happy. Okay. Like not my job, this whole you should thing. That's crazy. Continuing on, maybe a transgender category in all sports. Again, we're going to pause. I don't think she realized that in that one sentence, she's admitting that these people who say they are transgender women are really just men. She's admitting that by saying we should have a third category. I hope she realizes that. Secondly, this has been done several times now. FINA, which is the international governing body of swimming, they were very quick to do this. Following that national championships, they did create a third category. Even at the international level, really high level meets, to which they said, look, we welcome all. So this compromise that you're trying to make, don't come to me with it. You should go to the other side and see how they feel about this compromise, because it's a compromise that they are not willing to make. Continuing on, she says, but instead you bully them. By bully them, she means calling out the cheating boys or men. Okay. One thing's for sure, no one in sports is safe with you around. I can't even actually make sense of that last little bit. I don't really know what that means. Me, someone who has been advocating for the fairness and the safety of women and girls on the court or the field or the track, whatever athletic setting it is, they're not safe with me around sports. Anyways, so that was the first little encounter that we had. I was pretty quick to respond back, just very briefly, because it popped up on my phone, right? Like, I don't have my notifications on with X, but it bypasses, like if someone comments to you or responds to you or mentions you and they have a certain number of followers, it overrides the no notification rule. At least on my phone it does. So I get this notification that says, Simone Biles has tagged you, and I click on it. I was so shocked because, again, I've admired her for so long. Like, I was starstruck really when I got this notification. Then of course I read it, to which at that point, I was fully prepared for an onslaught of hatred and negativity to come my way from her profile, which is not what happened at all, by the way. We'll get into that. So I see this pretty early on. I respond back to it pretty quickly. I say, this is actually so disappointing. It's not my job or the job of any woman to figure out how to include men in our spaces. You can uplift men stealing championships in women's sports with your platform. Men don't belong in women's sports, and I say that with my full chest. I then go on to say, look, my take is the least controversial take on the entire planet. Did not have Simone Biles being a male apologist at the expense of young girls' dreams on my 2025 bingo card. Maybe she could compete in the pommel horse and rings in 2028. She then tweets, and it's separate, like little thread here. This was just a tweet she put out. She says, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male. This was the one that really took the cake for me. Couple of reasons why. Number one, ironically enough, again, admitting that she knows that men and women are physiologically, biologically, categorically different. Okay, like she just admitted that. Anyways, wokeness sometimes, actually all the time, blinds the ability to rationally and logically think, so it seems. Number two, I'm 5'5". Like, that's not overly tall. I'm about 130, 135 pounds standard, right? Like, of what I would describe as pure muscle. Like when I was in college, I don't have the ability to like measure my body fat percentage now. When I was competing, granted, I was definitely more fit and lean and toned then. My body fat percentage was 10 to 11%, which is pretty severely low actually for a woman, because of the way our bodies are built. It's not the overly low for a man. It's really, that's really low for a woman. And I think the thing that got me the most about this, and again, I'm very secure, okay? Like, this does not hurt my feelings. I've had so many people, it's like been the most sweet and amazing thing ever, message me saying, you know, keep your head up. I don't need you to do that, because my head never went down. It never dropped, because I know I'm on the right side of history. So comments like this, they don't hurt my feelings. So many messages too. Look, I click on the message app. You guys broke my phone. Like, so sweet, so supportive, kind of annoying that now again on this weekend I intended to be spending peacefully at home, I now have a broken phone. Anyways, that's truthfully such a blessing to be able to have that problem. Anyways, 5'5". Wikipedia, ironically enough, lists me as 5'9". I am not 5'9". I actually made a video with my husband debunking this. Let's watch it actually together right here. Okay, figured I would whip out a tape measure to settle this debate. Wikipedia says I'm 5'9". Simone Biles yesterday told me to bully someone my own size and then said, ironically, that would be a man. I've got a tape measure. Clearly I don't have shoes on. I'm standing back to back. Don't know why the lights are flickering. Maybe that's an omen. Standing back to back. I have to stand on it or the haters are going to say we have like a Republican tape measure. Back to back, what we got?
65.5 on the nose, a hair below actually.
5'5.5". It's debunked. I'm 5'5.5". Simone Biles commenting on any other woman's body, which it's going to get even crazier in less than a week when I share an announcement with you guys as to, I mean, just how absurd it is to have a woman commenting on another woman's body, especially when it's Simone Biles, a woman who has, I mean, over the years historically been scrutinized for her stature, for her build. She's very strong. She's very muscular. She has a very masculine appearing body because of her sport, something athletes like me, former athletes like me can understand, right? Like, that's the body that serves her for the purpose it needs to serve her for. That is why she is so good, because her body is built the way that it is. She, again, because of the scrutiny that she has faced, she has been a part of several different like body positivity campaigns, if you will. We've got a picture here that we're going to insert of one of the campaigns that she did. It says here, it doesn't matter what others say, it's my body and it does incredible things. Beauty is #no competition. That's one of the body positivity campaigns that she's been in. We have a video here that I'm going to show you guys. Check it out.
I'm Simone Biles and I love my body. It helps with gymnastics and it teaches younger girls to love their bodies as well. I think I've learned to love my muscles a lot more than when I was younger. I got made fun of for my arms a lot. Some people would say like mean things. They used to call me like a soldier. At the time, it didn't make me feel the best, so I wore sweaters or jackets all year long. Now I show off my arms all the time. To body shamers, seeing. I feel like if you love your body, then that's all you can do, so it doesn't matter what anybody else says, and I think it's out of jealousy sometimes.
Here she's speaking positively about her muscles in an effort, again, to inspire young girls to love their bodies. It's a pretty beautiful message. I'm not one that typically gets behind like the body positivity movement, especially when it's to glorify being overweight. But this, I think, is incredible. Again, to inspire young girls to be fit, to be muscular, to exercise, to have their bodies serve the purpose that it needs to serve them for, especially when it comes to sports. So I think this is incredible. But again, she said I looked like a man because I oppose boys in girls sports. Really, really crazy stuff. A couple more points I want to make now that I'm thinking about it. Number one, for Simone Biles, again, to now come out and say, basically support the idea of men participating in women's sports at the expense of young girls' dreams. The first thing, truthfully, that I thought of was how heroic and brave she was in calling out, number one, witnessing and helping to expose the sexual abuse that female gymnasts like herself experienced at the hands of one predatory man. Of course, that man being Larry Nassar. And again, let me make my stance on this very, very, very clear. I hope Larry Nassar spends every single second for the rest of his life rotting away and miserable in a prison cell. Okay, gymnasts were failed by a system that protected an abusive man at the expense of girls' safety, their mental health, their well-being. Okay, I emphatically say that. So Simone and I are on the exact same page there, but where we, of course, align a little differently is when other girls outside of Simone Biles or her teammates have to endure predatory men. I don't say it lightly to compare Larry Nassar to men who want to undress and shower with women, which is exactly what me and my teammates had to go through. Many of those girls in that locker room describing, again, the scene that I witnessed, that I am now speaking out against, similar in the sense where many of these girls were sexual assault survivors, okay, like had already in some way, shape, or form experienced sexual abuse. Now they're in a setting where they're forced to undress, strip naked in front of a fully grown man while he also strips naked, watching the girls, yet those girls couldn't say a thing about it. Okay, like, could you get more perverted than that? Those are the conclusions that I'm drawing here, but Simone Biles doesn't seem to take a problem with female athletes who continue to be failed by a system that protects abusive men when it comes to the issue of allowing men into our sports and into our locker rooms. Actually, she believes she's in lockstep. She believes that women should be forced to strip naked in front of these men to protect the men's feelings. We've got a video here, I found this yesterday, of Simone Biles testifying before Congress, again, in a manner that I believe to be heroic, okay? Let's watch it here.
I am also a survivor of sexual abuse, and I believe without a doubt that the circumstances that led to my abuse and allowed it to continue are directly the result of the fact that the organizations created by Congress to oversee and protect me as an athlete, USA Gymnastics, and the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee failed to do their jobs. I don't want another young gymnast, Olympic athlete, or any individual to experience the horror that I and hundreds of others have endured before, during, and continuing to this day in the wake of the Larry Nassar abuse. To be clear,
Take your time.
To be clear, I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
I've been in that same seat. And when I was in that seat, again, testifying before Congress and the Senate many times, I got just as emotional. Again, it's to compare the two. I know how that sounds, again, to those who can very blatantly see the abuse, the sexual, horrific abuse that Larry Nassar was performing and doing to these young, vulnerable girls. But I mean, I can only relate this to the experience I had. When I sat in that seat, I was emotional, thinking about the next generation, just like Simone Biles is doing. I mean, our verbiage, the messaging, it's essentially the same. We want to protect girls. We want to make sure what happened to us doesn't happen to any other woman or girl, any other person ever again. Yet there seems to be a bit of a disconnect here. Again, it breaks my heart to see this, to hear this, to understand that this is the realization, the conclusion that she came to following my very controversial stance of men should not be allowed to compete in women's sports. Anyways, this morning I woke up again. This happened on Friday evening. Woke up Saturday morning to a USA Today article from Nancy Armour. She is just about insufferable as they come, truthfully. She has been the front runner for USA Today, at least, in discriminating against girls. Not even just that, actually. I would say it's worse than that. Into shaming, publicly humiliating girls like myself for opposing this, for opposing having to strip down naked in front of a man. I remember actually during all maybe you remember the Mountain West Conference Women's Volleyball Championship tournament where San Jose State University had a man posing as a woman on their team. Several teams, actually 5 Division I teams forfeited when it came their turn to play San Jose State University. Southern Utah, Utah State University, University of Nevada at Reno, Boise State, and University of Wyoming. And I remember Nancy Armour put out an article following, I think it was Boise State, when they ended up forfeiting their match against San Jose State. She said that the Boise State players are word for word committed to bigotry and that they were the real threat to women's sports here. Not the boy posing as the girl who had already given many girls at this point severe career ending, not just season ending, career ending concussions, but the girls who stood up for their own safety in the sport of volleyball were the real threat to women's sports. So all that to say, she has long been proven to be utterly insufferable and should not have a job at USA Today, but I guess that's what the appeal is. Or at least what they believe the appeal is. It's why their ratings, similar to CNN, MSNBC, ratings, viewership tanking, like horrendously, because they are so committed to this. Anyways, this morning an article came out. The title was Simone Biles Shows Her Greatness Again in Standing Up for the Transgender Community. Number one, Simone Biles, in the 2 tweets that Nancy Armour is referring to, hardly stood up for the transgender community. Really, all she did was personally attack and body shame me, another woman, someone who has opposed men and women's sports. But to Nancy Armour, that is as good as standing up for the transgender community. I've got a little paragraph in the article here where she says, there is no scientific evidence that transgender women athletes have a physical advantage over cisgender women athletes, but that hasn't stopped Riley Gaines from claiming they do. Let me rephrase that for you, put it in normal nomenclature that people like my grandma can understand. What Nancy Armour and USA Today is saying is that there's no scientific evidence that men have a physical advantage over women. Do they realize, which that's a rhetorical question, of course they or maybe they do realize. I think they're just so blinded. Do they realize how stupid this sounds? How infactual this is? How utterly incorrect it is to say that men don't possess a physical advantage on average over women. Anyways, Nancy Armour goes on to say, she, referencing me, Riley insists that they are robbing cisgender women of places on the podium, and she doesn't care if it's a 12 or a 22-year-old that she's putting in harm's way in this overheated climate where ignorance and violence are celebrated equally. 2 things. I don't care if it's a 6-year-old or a 50-year-old. She could make that gap a little more Jurassic here, because a man is a man is a man and a boy is a boy is a boy. I don't care how old they are. That's not what we're debating here. If you are a boy, you are a boy. If you are a man, you are a man. Like, doesn't matter. Age is that's a stupid point to bring up. And to end that little paragraph by saying, in a climate where ignorance and violence are celebrated equally. Is she insinuating that it's the right? That it's people like me, people with common sense conservatives who are celebrating violence? Really? Not the people who are throwing Molotov cocktails at Jews in Boulder, Colorado. No, that's not celebrating violence. No, not the people who have celebrated continuously Luigi Mangione, the man who shot senselessly a healthcare CEO in the back of the head twice. No, not him, not the people celebrating that sort of violence, because that's not violence. That's justified to people like Nancy Armour. Not the people who fly 4,000 miles to El Salvador to get their picture taken with an illegal gang member, or I'm supposed to say an alleged illegal gang member, who is about to face human smuggling charges in my home state of Tennessee. Okay, like when she says it is people like me, I'm assuming that's what she's insinuating. People like me who are celebrating violence. She should really reconsider that. Or maybe she shouldn't, because this will make things a breeze in 2026, and I think if they continue in 2028. Last thing, she says, Gaines has publicly lobbied for Biles and Caitlin Clark to support her in her hate. The public lobbying part is true. I've called on Simone Biles. I've called on Caitlin Clark. I've called on athletes like Serena Williams. Some of the greats, again, people I love, people I look up to, people young girls across the country look up to. I have called on them for support here. And I'm not asking them to, at least at the beginning of this, wade into a political conversation discussion here, because this shouldn't be a political discussion. Of course, it's inevitably become one. It shouldn't be one. It really shouldn't. It's a civil rights issue. It's a humanitarian issue. It's a moral issue that so many women with platforms have been totally silent on. But to say this is to support me and my hate, again, that's crazy. But Nancy Armour says to ask Biles to do this was a laughable idea to anyone who has followed Biles' illustrious career, which it is illustrious. Again, I don't think I can say it enough times. She's incredible. But what she has done here is effectively pull up the ladder behind her. We've seen people like Megan Rapinoe do this. Simone Biles is just the latest, where apparently she's done competing, just like Megan Rapinoe did, waited until they were done competing to take a stance on this issue, which for the life of me, I cannot understand. Take me out of the equation. Again, I don't care about the personal attacks. I really don't. I cannot for the life of me understand why Simone Biles in the year 2025 would advocate for this. Like I said, I was prepared for the onslaught of hatred and negativity when I saw this pop up on my phone. I was like, oh gosh, I'm going to be fielding negative, mean comments about my appearance or whatever else all weekend. I just didn't really want to. Again, I can handle it. I can take it. But of course, not what anyone wants to be reading or seeing or having to engage with. That is not at all what has happened. Simone Biles, if you go look at her comments on social media, we'll put a screen grab here of what those comment sections look like. I mean, virtually everyone is in defense of, not defense of me, is in defense of the stand that I have taken. And to be very clear in saying defense of me, Simone Biles isn't attacking me. I mean, she is. But what she's really doing is attacking people like my younger sister. My younger sister is an elite level gymnast. First of all, I come from a family of athletes, okay? Like, my dad played professional ball. He's an SEC Hall of Famer. My mom's a Division I softball player, all conference team. My oldest sister went to Ole Miss. She played softball. My brother, collegiate football. My youngest sister, again, elite level gymnast. She's the best athlete, dare I say, which I would never tell her this, she's the best athlete out of all of us. She will go on to do incredible things. I would imagine my hope for her is to continue her collegiate career in the SEC, the best conference, and continue excelling and succeeding as she's done since she was a little girl. She loves Simone Biles. I saw her this morning. We work out together, which is incredible. She works out at 5 a.m. with me in the mornings, every single morning, at least the mornings that I'm home. We lift together at 5 a.m. And in the summertime now, she's done with school. She's a sophomore in high school. She goes to the gym to practice, gymnastics practice for, the rest of the day. But she fits in that extra hour of lifting with me in the mornings because she's that dedicated at 16 years old. So I saw her this morning and she almost had tears in her eyes with this like internal dilemma that she was facing. She looks up to me so much, as I would imagine many younger sisters do to their older sisters. She always tells me, I want to be just like you. She's as fit as can be. She's a muscle. I'll insert a picture of her, like I'm talking like a raging 12-pack. She's so strong. But she loves Simone Biles. And so she saw me this morning and she's like, Riley, I thought you guys were on the same team. I thought you and Simone were fighting for the same things and, amplifying and promoting the idea of women in sports, what this looks like. But she said, clearly, you guys are not. She said it's all her gym could talk about, how awful Simone Biles treated me and the message that she sent to those young girls. It breaks my heart. I'll finish with this. I would welcome a debate with Simone Biles to talk about the issue. Of course, I would prefer to leave anything personal, like my looks, out of it, but would love to welcome a debate on what this looks like, how this plays out in reality, how this is only happening one way. If, again, Simone is saying that, it's totally fair. Why aren't we seeing women excel and dominate in men's sports, right? It's only happening one way. I would love a debate, or not even a debate, a discussion. That sounds more inviting. I would welcome a discussion with Simone Biles on this podcast, on any setting, really. She could pick the setting to be able to engage in this conversation, because I think she very blindly advocated for this without actually thinking about the effects of what this would look like, how no one would know Simone Biles if it weren't for women's gymnastics. Gymnastics, you look at men and women's gymnastics, it's a totally different sport, essentially, right? They don't have pommel horse in the women's. I think there are certain strengths that women possess, maybe in terms of flexibility or whatever that is, but in terms of strength, sheer strength. Even look at the men's vault compared to the women's vault. Not the same. They're not doing the same skills at that level at all. Simone knows this. That's why I say I think she blindly advocated for this. It sounds good. It sounds virtuous. But if her inclusive dream was a reality, she would have 0 gold medals, which, not that qualifies you. You don't need a gold medal to talk about these issues, but it's what's given her the platform that she has, being able to excel, being the best of the best. It's why young girls across the country, again, like my younger sister, look up to her. But I fear she's incinerated that reputation, that legacy, in just 2 tweets. Anyways, sorry for the impromptu episode. I was just, fired up about this, really. Again, this is someone I've called on to stand with me and with girls who oppose this, who believe they should call themselves, they have the right to call themselves a champion when it makes sense, when they work hard enough, when they set their mind to something. But Simone Biles has effectively shot that opportunity down. We'll see if there's a response that we get. I would imagine her PR team, wouldn't you hate to be Simone Biles' PR team this weekend, based off of, again, the way this is trending on social media. It's like the #1 trending thing on X. It has been at this point for over 12 hours. Again, the comments that she's receiving. Wouldn't you hate to be her PR team. Last thing, actually, I wonder how her husband feels about this. Her husband is an NFL player. I think he plays for the Bears. I wonder how he feels, right? Like, he's a big man, like tall, strong, large, like many NFL football players, that same stature. Wonder if he agrees, if he would want a woman like Simone Biles on the football field with him running full speed at her with every intention to flatten her. I would imagine he wouldn't support that, but who knows in this world anymore? I can't keep up. Nonetheless, Simone, if you want to keep advocating, or I guess start this new advocacy journey of uplifting men and women's sports, stealing our championships, then by all means, do that. It's America. You get to do that, okay? It's the beauty of America is you get to do that. But for me, personally, I am going to keep advocating for girls and for women and for equal opportunity and for privacy in areas of undressing and for safety in our sports. We'll see if she responds to the idea of a discussion. Would love that, to be able to engage in that. But in the meantime, you can check out all things Gains for Girls on youtube.com/OutKick. Before we go, I want to tell you about today's sponsor too. It is Cozy Earth. I should have mentioned this in the front part of the episode, but got their sheets, got their pajamas, got their loungewear. I love it. I love it. Was excited to be able to take a nap in those sheets this weekend, but now we're dealing with all of the theatrics that have come from this ex interaction. Anyways, it's what I got my dad for Father's Day. The dad who is impossible to shop for. That's my dad. I got him the all day tee and I got him the everywhere pant. He loves it. He has described it. I gave it to him early because I'm one of those people, when I get someone a gift, I can't hold on to it. I want to give it to him. He has described it as breathable. He has described it as flexible and, of course, comfortable, effortless. Looks nice, dressed up. It feels like loungewear. So again, check that out at CozyEarth.com. You can use my code GAINS, GAINES, for 40% off all men's apparel through Father's Day. So fantastic gift ideas. Check it out for the dads who work, do their best to provide, I guess, during that 9 to 5, be able to give them the gift of comfort and this really like sanctuary from 5 to 9. You do that with Cozy Earth. CozyEarth.com, code GAINS. We will see you guys again next week.